Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today we're going to make a quick arrangement in a cube vase. So we have an arrangement to go to the hospital for a baby girl, and we are going to use some pastel colors in this cube vase. So I'm going to start out with a glass cube. I think this is a 5 by 5 inch. It has been filled with fresh water, has a touch of flower food in it, and I'm going to use a couple stems of hydrangeas. Now I like, when I'm using a large mouthed vase, I like to use hydrangeas as a grid. Now you can also use like a clear tape to tape a grid on your vase, or you can just use a white hydrangea or any color. I'm going to take my floral knife, I'm going to cut that stem at an angle, and I am going to dip that stem right down into that flower, quick dip. Now quick dip is a hydrating solution. Quite honestly, I have no idea what it's made up of. Someone asked the other day, what is it made of? And I have no idea. But let me tell you, quick dip helps to keep these hydrangeas hydrated. But the other day I actually worked with one of my friends who owns a catering and floral design business, and she uses alum, which is a powder form alum that you can buy over in the grocery store, in the canning section. We just took those hydrangeas, I dipped them in that alum and tucked them right into the floral design. We were working off a cooler and we made those arrangements on a Thursday. Those hydrangeas were still beautiful in floral foam on Saturday for that wedding. So alum does work. If in case anybody is interested, powdered alum that you can buy in the pickling section does work. So I have 2 stems of white hydrangeas tucked down in that vase. Next I'm going to take this beautiful Magnum Mum, which is a pretty purple, and I'm going to nestle that right down into that hydrangea. I love large mums. I don't know about you, but they're just so pretty. Lots of beautiful petals. Now this one's big and showy, but I thought this sweet lavender would be pretty. I didn't get it quite short enough, so I cut it a little shorter. I thought this pretty lavender would be perfect for this baby girl. All right, so I just tucked one on one side and one on the other. Next we're going to come in. I have some beautiful astilbe, which is really fun to work with. But first I am going to take one of these rose lilies. So a rose lily is a variety of lilies. It's actually what I would call a double lily. So it has lots of petals versus a regular lily or an oriental only has like 5 or 6 petals, right? But this one has just lots and lots of petals. So when it opens up, it just has lots of beautiful petals. I'm going to take this stem and I'm going to cut each bloom off, leaving that stem fairly long, and I'm going to nestle that right down in to that hydrangea. And I'm going to do that with each of these buds, and just kind of nestle them here and there. The wonderful part of these lilies is the fact that they're the buds have really long stems, so it works out perfect for this style of an arrangement. Next we're going to come in with some of these garden spray roses. This is just a soft pink little garden spray. Now they have some bumps and bruises on these petals, so I'm just peeling back the petals that have bumps and bruises. So anytime you see a rose, be it a spray rose or a standard, and it has a bump or bruise on those petals, go ahead and pop those off. You are not hurting that rose. Now the wonderful part about these little spray roses is they have tons of petals. So once they warm up and they open up really big, you're not ever going to notice that I removed a petal. So I just took and removed some of those petals. This has a pretty long stem, so I popped it off, cut that stem at an angle. I'm going to nestle him right down into this arrangement, and then this one with the longer stem, cut it and tuck him in another place. So you're actually using one stem in several places. Here's our second stem of those roses. Again, if you see any bumps or bruises, go ahead and pull those petals right off. Cut it at an angle and nestle him right down in. And then these two stems that I popped off, I'm just going to tuck here and there. All right, next we're going to come in with our filler flower, and so this is a steel bee. Now a steel bee you can actually grow in your garden. I have never grown a steel bee. It's kind of feathery. It reminds you a little bit of like an aster, a solidago aster. Now a steel bee is not as hardy as solidago aster, but it sure is pretty. And I like to use it in wedding work. It really does make a pretty statement in a flower bouquet. All right, so there's our astilbe that we're going to use as our filler flower. And then lastly, oh, we've got some Lizzy Anth. Now Lizzy Anth is one of my favorites. So I love Lizzy. Lizzy Anth, to me, it's a really dainty flower. It has fairly fragile petals, but it has these wonderful little buds on each stem usually. And so I love Lizzy. It often comes in pastel colors. It comes in some purples, shades of lavenders, and then pretty pinks. Lizzy's right up there in my favorite type of flower. I gotta sneeze. And now it won't come, right? So kind of leave those stems a little longer to give us a little movement in this arrangement. And be sure to add all those little buds in too. I think the buds are one of my favorite parts of Lizzy. But I like that it's just a dainty, pretty little flower. All right, so there's our Lizzy Anth tucked in. Now to finish this arrangement, we're going to come in with a little bit of eucalyptus. This is one stem, y'all. One stem of eucalyptus. I am not going to use all of it. I'm just going to use a little bit here and there. I'm going to take and I cut off a piece and I'm going to strip off those leaves. Now, when you're using foliage in your flower arrangements, you want to go ahead and strip the leaves off that might fall below the water line. And the reason we do that is because the foliage in the water promotes the growth of bacteria, which makes the flowers not last as long. So go ahead and be sure to cut off any of the foliage that might fall below. And actually, I got a little piece of that hydrangea down in there. And any petals or anything that might be in that water, go ahead and pull those out too. You want clean water. And another thing is if you will change this water out every other day, your flowers are going to last longer. So be sure when you receive flowers, if you would change out that water, you will have longer lasting blooms. And as the blooms begin to fade, anything that has faded, go ahead and remove that flower. And you'll still have very pretty flowers to enjoy until they're gone. All right, there is the finishing touch, a little bit of that eucalyptus, and there is our finished arrangement. Now the flowers we used in this cube vase include 2 white hydrangeas, 2 lavender magnum mums, 2 stems of the spray roses, and those are spray garden roses. We used 3 stems of the pink Lizzy Anth, 1 stem of this beautiful rose lily. We used 4 stems of astilbe and a little bit of eucalyptus. I didn't even use half a stem of that eucalyptus. So that's crazy, right? But there is our beautiful arrangement. Guys, thank y'all so much for being here with me. If you have any questions about how we do things here at our flower shop, please ask. We would love to help answer your questions if we can. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. And if you have not already subscribed to our channel, hit that little button down below and hit that bell, and it'll give you notifications for when we have a new video. Guys, have a great day. We'll see you soon.